All journalists are now video journalists, without exception. That's not a piece of propaganda on my part. It's a statement of fact. Every journalist, everybody who works in journalism is a video journalist, whether they practice it or not. The only issue is, do they, on this particular story they're working on, need to use video? If so, do they have the skills, the training, and the technology to do it? But should they think video at the same time as they think anything else? Absolutely, absolutely.
Over the last 5 to 10 years, there's been an interesting transition in how video journalism is done, and it's been driven entirely by the digital environment. There's still a whole world of broadcast journalism out there, and it's working in exactly the same way that it used to work and that it worked for 20 or 30 years. I began my career in television, and I can see now them doing the same stories the same way with exactly the same paradigm. Over in the online space, however, things are quite different. In the online space, there's much less money, there's much less craft specialisation, there's much less need to rigorously conform around a bulletin or around the commercial dictates of a bulletin. So there's a lot more latitude as to how you might deal with making video and telling stories in video, making journalism work in video.
When I started in television, as a television news reporter in the press gallery 25 years ago, the whole object of the day was to collect everything and condense it into a minute 30. And that's what still happens in the nightly television news. A great deal of effort put into one story covering politics that may have a 5-second soundbite out of Question Time. But there are people out there who want to know more about one aspect of that political story. For example, what happens in Question Time. So every day we put up a 5 or 6 minute wrap of what's happened in the House of Reps. Question Time. It's not for everybody, but there are people out there who are passionately interested in politics who would love that. There are people who want to see more of a Prime Ministerial press conference than are simply carried in the nightly news. So it's more of a narrow casting model. So we've got more video and people can pick and choose which ones they want to watch.
Also, the way that people consume it differs, so they want it now. No one's going to wait for a bulletin. They want to know the news as soon as it happens, so you have to file continuously. It's much more like a rolling news format. In that sense, video news has actually become much more like radio news was, or currently still is, I guess, and bears a lot more heritage with the kind of way that you'd approach a rolling radio news format to the way that you might approach a broadcast or even a print news format.
If the camera's a little bit shaky, it doesn't quite matter. Because let's be honest, most of the video that people watch these days is on YouTube or Vimeo or Facebook or things like that, and it's people taking videos with their cell phones. It's that sort of it's the user-generated content that they watch a lot of that, and even the TVs and the broadcast people, they pick that up and they use that, which I know really grates a lot of the cameramen. Because that's their bread and butter going out there. I need to make sure I've got a really nice steady shot, but often that's actually being overridden by these mobile phone videos. So I don't think that that having sort of not mistakes, but I don't think that having that the shaky shot or anything really matters when it comes to editing on the fly.
I think there's a need for reporters, people with aspirations to being journalists, to really think of video not just in terms of the conventional video report, not in terms of the conventional television report. There is a place in online journalism for reports like that, but video tends to be used far more these days as an integral part of storytelling. So we'll quite often run, say, just a short grab, a significant grab from somebody speaking without the context, relying on the story that the video is set in to give it that context. Sometimes the video is the story. Sometimes it's a video of, let's say, the meteorite striking in Russia. That just was the story, the site of that, and then you build the rest of it around the text and so on around that. So there's those kind of elements, and then there's also thinking about how people are going to consume video. So we're living in a ever-changing consumer world in terms of consuming news. We have previously been dominated by things like people absorbing news through their desktop computer, through the website. Nowadays, we're starting to think much more seriously about how we get to people who get their news through mobile, through sharing, through social media. And we're thinking about how we tailor our output so that we can get to those people.
Currently, as the newsroom operates, video is separate to the journalists who write the stories. That's going to become less and less of the case. Increasingly, journalists are going to be responsible for acquiring and uploading, publishing and promoting their own video assets and content.
We've found typically for somebody we think sitting at their desk, say at lunchtime, that we'd be talking about a video of about between 1.5 to 3 minutes is about as long as we can expect somebody to actually sit there for. With a mobile phone, we're thinking it could be certainly less than 90 seconds. We think it could be down to as short as 12, 15 seconds.
Mobile tends to lend itself to shorter videos, broken down videos, very short sometimes. When you think about Vine and Snapchat and so on, you know, you're talking about 7 seconds, 15 seconds. Those are things which even the BBC is doing now, using Instagram, that kind of thing. Things which, you know, can only be uploaded via mobile, really. On the other hand, the tablets go in a different direction. iPads, the iPad tends to want quite high quality premium stuff, more feature based. So it really will vary, but what that points to is that you've got to be able to provide. You've got to have people who can produce good video on almost any mobile platform.